Morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday's reading lesson of week 8. This week, every day this week, I'm asking you to do a warm-up again, and we are focused on author's purpose. Now, we've been through the PIE theory for author's purpose: persuade, inform, and entertain. But actually, there's two more elements to it as well. So explain and describe. So those are also reasons that authors write things, especially non-fiction texts. So I've given you an example of that. And I've also given you a check sheet to use for the whole week. So we haven't printed it out 4 times for people who've got the paper pack, and we're not going to use it every day at school. We're using the same one each day. So you will have the grid colour for you to remind you of what explain and describe includes. So explain means the author wants to tell you how to do something or how something works. And describe, the author wants you to visualise or experience a person, place or thing. So those things can be added into author's purpose. So today's task is to look at the text about water, and I've got 4 different texts for the week. There may be more than one purpose. Sometimes there is. So we've also given you a grid like this, where when you read the text, you ask these questions to yourself. So for persuade, it says, is the author trying to get you to do something or believe something? Are they telling you about what to do or telling you to try something out? If the answer to that is yes, then put a little tick in the box that says yes. Then read the next one. Maybe there's a bit of yes in that as well, so you put a tick in that box. So you'll have a tick for each thing, either in the yes or no box. Then using that, you need to write your paragraph about what the purpose is, or the author's purpose for that text, and it might be more than one. So if you're telling us that the author's purpose is to entertain and describe, you need to give us reasons why or evidence from the text to show us that. So really trying to dig down deep into author's purpose this week. That's your warm-up task. Your other task, we're going to look at some poetry or songs. You know, I love to look at a song as well. Poetry or songs this week, and looking for the message in them, or the main idea, whichever way you want to say it. So today we're looking at a really famous poem by Dorothea Mackellar called My Country. And it's famous because actually it was used on an advert a long time ago. Your parents would probably know it. There was a really famous advert about cleaning up the country and not rubbishing. So, not dropping rubbish. So, I have given you an example of what I would like you to do when you're studying this poem. So there's a hear me read, if you'd like to hear me read it, and then you've also got a copy of the whole poem. Now last week, remember, we talked about Archie Roach's song, and we looked at each stanza or each verse, and we looked at what the main idea was in each one of those. So same with today's text, Dorothea Mackellar's My Country poem, and I've given you an example in the first box of what we would like you to do. So first of all, we'd like you to read through the stanza or the verse and underline any words that you're not sure the meaning of. Step 1 is to try and infer the meaning. So using the sentence around it, or other words, what do you think it means? So I've done that in my example, and then I've looked it up in a dictionary as well. So the first one that I didn't know was coppice, C-O-P-P-I-C-E. What is a coppice? The sentence says, the love of field and coppice, of green and shaded lanes. So the meaning I inferred from that was something about crops or vegetation or scenery. Something to do with green and shady lanes, so I think it's about plants. I'm not quite sure, but that fits in with all the other words. Then I looked it up in the dictionary, and the meaning is a small group or plantation of trees or shrubs. So I was pretty close. It was about shrubbery or greenery. And then for that verse, I've written down my interpretation of it, which is what you did with Archie Roach's song last week. So we're trying to develop our understanding of this. So the first stanza was, the love of field and coppice, of green and shaded lanes, of ordered woods and gardens is running in your veins. Strong love of grey blue distance, brown streams and soft dim skies. I know but cannot share it. My love is otherwise. I think this means some people love green gardens and scenery with streams and gentle skies. I imagine this is what England would look like, but this is not the type of countryside that I love. I think that's what she's saying in that first bit. Your job is to keep going try to look at every stanza, every verse, and write down what you think the main idea is. And we're also focusing on vocabulary, trying to infer or work out what the words mean. Your actual task is to write a paragraph or two about the message of her poem using the notes from the grid that you've taken. I would like you to send a picture of your notes, please, that include the words that you underlined that you weren't sure about, your inferred meanings or dictionary meanings, and then your paragraph. Last week, some people thought doing the grid was enough, and we kind of let you go on that because you'd worked your way through it, but actually the grid is to help you gather information to write your paragraph about what is the message of her poem, what is the main idea, what is she trying to get across to people through her poetry. I hope you enjoy it. I've put a link at the bottom. Let's hope it works. I put a link at the bottom to listen to her reading her poem. So you might like to have a look at... I'd like you to do that last if you could, please. Do what you think. You can listen to me read if you like. Check your grid. And then last of all, go and watch her version of reading the poem. And I hope you enjoy it.